Liverpool are back on top of the table again in the Premier League as we have a loaded midweek with games over the next 3 games, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Manchester City have a big clash with Aston Villa, and we've got another Chelsea versus Manchester United at Stamford Bridge. I'm Andrew Passaro. He's Ani Sridhar. Pretty good weekend from us. Well, I had an okay weekend. Maybe not today. I will say we absolutely not good on Arsenal, Manchester City. As a Liverpool fan, I could not have asked for much more. Um, but up and down weekend, uh, some crazy ones. Did not have West Ham and Newcastle getting into a bloodbath. Fulham disappointed me. We will talk about them on the podcast today. Not a great day at the bridge for Chelsea. Although I saw, when I put out, by the way, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Andrew Passaro, at Ani323, at the Plus Money Pod. When I put out my research notes post, someone commented that Chelsea haven't lost at Stamford Bridge in the month of March since 2021, which I don't know how we filed that away till next March because I'm for sure going to forget about it. Couple things came in. Obviously, Der Klassiker sailed under, which I didn't love. Um,
Bayern's
Nottingham
cooked.
Forest.
They're cooked.
Yeah, no. Tuchel came out and said the race is over. So I
Yeah.
think FanDuel should cash me out right now for Leverkusen plus 650. Like, it all makes sense. Um, let's get into it. We got a loaded midweek. There's also Copa America. There's Copa Italia semifinals as well, going on in the midweek. But a full game week. I think it's match day 31. There'll be catch-up games coming here and there. Um, Chelsea, Manchester United. I have a crazy Manchester United Chelsea stat for you later. I'm going to start with Nottingham Forest taking on Fulham. Fulham obviously getting into that 3-3 draw with Sheffield, which I did not expect at all. Came roaring back. Sheffield team total over 1.5 is plus 144. It's hit in 6 of the last 8 games for Fulham. I also like Fulham draw no bet plus 102. Nottingham Forest have not beaten Fulham at home since 2015. They've played 5 times in that time frame. That's 1 draw and 4 losses for Nottingham Forest. So obviously four Fulham wins. So I love the DNB plus 102 value. Kind of gives you some extra security if what happens this past weekend happens again for Fulham. And I'm also going to their hot start striker of late, Muniz. 2 shots on target plus 350. It's hit in the last 2 games. Gonna take a
Like
stab
those
at that
odds.
one. Yeah, that's not a full unit bet, folks, but that's a sprinkle. You know what I mean? Like the dude's been in really good form for Fulham. They're off to a good start. Let's jump to Newcastle and Everton. Big one at both clubs. Newcastle picking up more injuries. Everton with a dagger of a loss to Bournemouth this weekend. What do you like in that one, Ani?
Yeah, I mean Newcastle at home here. I'm taking them on the money line at minus 105. I think they're just the better team than Everton right now. Everton struggling back in that relegation zone when they're not in the bottom three, but like they're teetering on falling into that bottom three. And who knows, maybe they get penalized more. They could get docked more points. We don't know. We saw Forest get docked earlier this year too. So I think Newcastle takes us at home. Minus 105, I think is a great number.
Big home field advantage, big win for Newcastle. Try to build off that momentum, and there's no issue of Anthony Gordon playing against his old club because he picked up that very dumb red card at the end of the game, which I didn't like. Classic game for Newcastle last weekend. I'm going to go to Bournemouth. They're taking on Palace. I think you can take the money line here. I'm not, but I expect Bournemouth to continue to pick up points. I'm going Dom Solanke, anytime goal scorer, plus 135. Scored again this past weekend. This just screams a game that he scores. He's got 16 goals in the Prem this season, which is second behind Haaland. He's tied with Watkins, only 2 goals behind Haaland. Salah also tied on 16. And then I also like Bournemouth 6 shots on target at plus 150. They've done this in like the last 10 games. I think they've done this 5 or 6 times. I forgot to write the stat down as I was doing the research, but they've done this a fair amount of times. But the fact that this is at home, a game that I think they're going to be all over Palace, 6 shots on target seems doable. Um, one game that I think is going to get out of hand, and I don't know how to bet it, which is why I'm trusting you to do it, is a London derby. Tottenham taking on West Ham. We saw West Ham get the better of Tottenham earlier this season. Tottenham left it late against Luton, but Tottenham and both teams to score came in. What do you like in this one?
Taking the over 3.5 at plus 108. Um, and West Ham's been a little bit hot recently scoring. Bowen's been on a roll. Tottenham, as we know how they play. We say it every week. It's attack, attack, attack. They probably should have scored more against Luton at home, but I think the over 3.5 easily hits in this, to be honest. We just saw West Ham play a crazy game against Newcastle where they scored 3 goals. So I think we see plenty of goals here in the midweek.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bowen, I think, on 15 goals on this season. So much firepower for England. That's not even Harry Kane. You've got Bowen, Watkins, and Solanke all at like 15 goals, opportunity to break 20 on the season, which is incredible for all these guys who aren't even playing for top 4 or 5 clubs. Um,
Right.
let's jump to Wednesday, and we are taping this Sunday night, so we don't have full cards here. So we won't have shots, we won't have we won't have corners. So there may be additions to the rest of the picks here. Arsenal Luton. I'm going both teams to score here. I feel like we say this stat every week. I think it's now 14 out of the last 16 and maybe the last 10 in a row for Luton. It's at minus 118 on its own. I don't even think adding 2.5 goals in this gets you to a plus number, which is why I'm not tacking it on. I'm just taking both teams to score. I think it's a really solid parlay piece as per usual. Um, we saw Luton give Tottenham a really hard time this past weekend at Tottenham, and I know Arsenal's defense has been really good, but Arsenal had a crazy come from behind win against Luton earlier this season, that insane 4-3 where they got that last second winner. So I don't think lightning strikes twice. I do think Arsenal beat them and probably batter them, but I do think that Luton get on the score sheet. They are still in the relegation zone, and I don't know if they're going to be able to dig themselves out of it, but damn, like I've never seen a team that's in 18th place that I'm like, damn it, does this team deserve to stay up more than Luton? What do you like from
Right.
this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think this has 4-1 Arsenal written all over it. So I like the over 3.5 team total for Arsenal at plus 150. I mean, I think it could even get even more out of hand, like a 5-1, maybe a 6-1 here. Coming off a scoreless draw against City, I think the Arsenal offense is going to be clicking on all cylinders here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think this one could get ugly. Burnley taking on Wolves. I'm gonna pinch my nose here and take a very injured Wolves team at plus 140. They did well against Aston Villa, didn't get the win, but like their front three is decimated right now. I'm just like I just don't trust Burnley. If you don't want to take this one, I get it. I don't even know if I'm gonna put a full unit on it, but I'm like it's just there. I just know how good this Wolves team is and how poor this Burnley team is, and there's Burnley picked up a red card, and there's no company on the bench because he's also suspended. So I'm going there. You're taking a bet for Liverpool and Sheffield. I'm waiting until we get line for more lines. Um, what do you like?
Same bet I have for the Arsenal Luton game. You're giving me a top of the table team against the relegation zone. I'm taking the over 3.5 team total for Liverpool at plus 106. I was surprised I got plus money on this, but I think this is 5-0 written all over it.
It should be. I did some research because I was actually leaning Liverpool at under 3.5. They've never smoked Sheffield. It's always been like 2-0, 2-1. But Sheffield have had a lot of overs of late. Like I said this earlier this weekend, they were up 3-1 on uh, Fulham. So this could turn into a shootout. We'll see. Um, I had something for Man City, Aston Villa, but you'll have to check Twitter for that because it depends on if Ollie Watkins plays. That's such a huge piece for them, whether or not he's going to play. So we're jumping to Chelsea, Manchester United. Another classic rendition of a huge game in the Premier League, and both teams coming off of games they'd probably rather forget. Manchester United dropping points against Brentford, Chelsea dropping points against Burnley. Still, you kept the stat. It's still true. They haven't lost, but not good enough against Burnley. Um, Manchester United have not lost to Chelsea since July of 2020 when they played in the FA Cup. They have 2 wins and 5 draws in that time frame, which is a weird stat. And what's even crazier is that Eric Ten Hag basically came out and threw Manchester United under the bus for like not trying hard enough. Um, I'm gonna
So
go with I'm gonna go with Man United draw no bet at plus 166. Um, I also made sprinkle on the draw. I will also definitely put a parlay together of both teams to score shots and corners. The both teams to score has been coming in. I think it's hit in like 9 out of the last 10 games for Chelsea. I tweeted about it over the weekend. Let me pull it up. But and we
Mhm.
the over 3.5 number is cooked. The over 3.5 has been coming in a lot for Chelsea. Both teams to score has hit in 10 of the last 11 Chelsea games, hitting 5 straight, and the over 3.5 has hit in 9 of the last 11 Chelsea's games, 5 straight. So goals potentially. Um, we've just seen a lot of 1-1, 0-0 Chelsea Man United games, and I kind of think Poch is going to set up the team to defend, and I kind of see Ten Hag maybe doing the same thing of like maybe trying to rest guys so they don't get smoked against Liverpool on the weekend. What are you seeing?
Yeah, my final play on the card, Chelsea money line minus 105. Going right back to it. Let's ride, baby. Big game against United. Yeah, the Chelsea games have been crazy. It's been like 2-2, 4-2, 3-2. They haven't lost in a very long time. They haven't lost in the Prem since they lost Wolves 4-2 first week of February. So they didn't lose at all in March. They pretty much only lost once in February in the Prem. So starting April off with the win against United.
I will say, um, Cole Palmer score assist is if it's plus money, that's a hammer. Like
Yeah.
dude's, I think he broke 20 goals and assists combined on the season. Um, we're not really a podcast that'll do like signings of the season, but he's certainly up there. Like if we
Yeah.
were to do like a starting 11 of best signings on the year, he's
He
up there.
definitely, yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
he's yeah, he's been excellent. Potch in, potch out. What's the vibes?
I mean, it would be stupid to fire him now, in my opinion. So I think it's still Pochettino. Maybe give him one more year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the coaching search for the offseason is going to be bananas because Xabi Alonso not leaving Leverkusen.
Yep.
Bayern Munich may have to bring back Nagelsmann. They just fired to bring in Tuchel, and then
Bayern, Barca, Liverpool are all gonna most likely. Well, two confirmed new managers. Bayern probably a new manager as well.
yeah, I mean Tuchel said he's going to step down, but if they win the Champions League, which I don't think they will do, who knows?
I don't know. I don't know. Just that would be such a Tuchel thing to do to like be like F the league, but we're gonna go in the Champions League. He's done
Yeah.
it before.
Yeah, he has. He definitely has. All right, we'll have a big one coming up later in the week. Obviously, Liverpool, Man United. Um, tables all over the place now. Um, Pep said that Manchester City are third favorite to win the Premier League this season earlier today, which is wild. A wild quote coming out of that man's mouth. Um, they didn't look good today. There's a conversation that needs to be had about is Erling Haaland okay? Because
Yeah.
I I well, all right, we haven't hit 15 minutes yet, so I'm gonna ask you one question, then we're gonna go. I'm gonna pull up the Golden Boot odds. Is it worth a punt on somebody else right now? Because Holland's minus 370, Salah's plus 750, Watkins plus 850, uh, Son at plus 1500, Solanke plus 2600. Is there anybody that you would take there?
Solanke plus 2,600 is so juicy.
I know.
That's the one. I mean, I would have to look at the schedule to see who Bournemouth to play to close it out. If they got games against like Sheffield and Burnley and Luton coming up, I don't hate that.
I know City don't have the craziest run in, and you're gonna rotate Holland obviously as they try to win the Champions League. I think he's just
Let me
hurt,
see
and
who Bournemouth got here.
I like I think there's I think Solanke is a really great shout because Bournemouth have no European football that they'll be rotating him in and out of.
I
And
mean, here's the Bournemouth schedule in April. Palace at home probably scores. Luton on the road
probably
probably scores.
scores.
United at home
He was all over
probably
them. He was
scores.
all over them when they played the
Yeah.
last time. I think he had a
Villa
hat
Villa
trick.
on
He
the
almost had a hat trick.
Villa on the road. Villa have struggled, but
Yeah.
that's good to
That's
see him not score.
yeah.
Wolves on the road probably scores. Brighton at home probably scores. Arsenal on the road, no. Home against Brentford, yes. And then at Chelsea to round out the Prem.
That's a game he could score in.
That's
It's
yeah,
not
so
crazy. It's
that's
not crazy. And the other thing too is all you need to do at plus 2,600. If you do it on FanDuel, which will let you cash out early, all he has
yeah.
to do is take the lead, and then you'll probably get like some kind of
All you have to
cash
do is
out
have a
out of it.
hat trick against Crystal Palace. No big
Yeah,
deal.
exactly. No big deal.
Like no big deal.
Yeah. All right, that'll wrap it up from us. We'll be back later in the week as we get ready for England's biggest derby. I'm Andrew. He's Ani. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Andrew Passaro, at Ani Sridhar 23, at the Plus Money Pod. Let's stay positive, and we'll catch you next week.